Welcome to the new
Hello,
Camtasia
class.
Studio.
I have just finished
We encourage you to
creating
watch
your
and play with this
assignment
Getting
one
Started
and wanted
project
to give you
video
the
to learn
tips
some of the
to
most important
understanding
concepts
the
of using
assignment
the
and
editor.
finding your grade.
If you want
As you
more
can see,
in-depth
there's still an
tutorials that
error
will walk you through
message.
the entire
In about half
process
an
of
hour, they're
recording,
supposed to be
editing,
rebooting
and sharing your
Blackboard, and
videos,
hopefully all of
then
the
please watch the Getting Started
snap errors
tutorials
we've
using this
experienced
link
will
under
be
the Help
gone.
menu.
To
The
find
editor
your
is
grade
divided up
for
into three
assignment
main
1,
areas:
go to
the
Tools,
Clip-In, the
and you'll
Timeline,
see the
and the
section over
Canvas.
here that says My
The
Grades.
Canvas is where you see your
And
video
in My
during playback
Grades, you'll be able
and
to
can
see
move,
what your current
resize,
grade
and
is,
reposition all media however you
what
want.
your graded assignments are,
timeline
the
is where you
upcoming grades
assemble
that you
and
have.
edit your video.
It will also have in it
At the
any
top of the
grades that you've
timeline, tick
submitted
marks
that
represent
I have not
time in
graded
terms
yet.
of minutes
The
and
reason your
seconds.
discussion board
When building a video,
section
you'll
is
work in
not
a
showing up in
horizontal
here
manner,
is because
beginning
while
from the
I'm
left and
grading,
moving
I keep
sequentially
it hidden
time toward
because
the
if I
right.
need to do a curve at the end
The
or something
tracks
like
are
that,
layered on
I don't
top
want
of
to freak
each other.
out anyone
So
whose name
media
comes
you
early
add
in
on
the
higher
alphabet.
tracks is viewed on top of
So
media
when you
on
go to
lower
the
tracks in
graded
the canvas.
section, click on the
For
assignment
example,
title,
this
assignment
callout
1,
is
the
placed on top
library.
of the video track on the timeline,
And here you'll
and
be able to
therefore is on
see
top
your
of the screen
grade
video
and
on the
any
canvas.
comments that I've made. If I
If
make
I
a
drag the
comment,
video track
you'll be
on
able to
top of the
see this
callout on
red
the timeline,
icon,
the callout is now hidden
and you can
behind the
go
video on
over
the canvas.
and see
Use
what
the
I
zoom
mentioned
slider
in
to
it.
magnify the
You
view
will
of the
have something
timeline.
more specific
This
than
is
blah,
very
blah, blah.
helpful when making precise cuts and
The
selections,
things that
like
I
removing
noticed the
ums in your audio.
most, everybody
New
got
media can be dragged
your
and dropped
5
on an existing
articles
track,
or 5
or a new
journals
track is
correct.
automatically created
There
when
are a
media is
handful
dropped at
that
this
are
location
very
at the
specific
top
to
of the
anesthesia
timeline.
that are available full text.
To change the
Everyone
position
was
of a
able to
clip on the
find the
timeline,
AMA
just
manual
drag
of
it.
style. You're going to
To
need
change
that
the
again
duration of a clip,
in
drag the
Unit
edges
6.
in either direction.
Everyone was able to figure out
An
who
important
James
part
Young
of the
Simpson
timeline is
was
the
by
playhead.
looking in clinical
To view your
anesthesia.
video,
That tells
click
me you
play.
guys have a good
Notice how the
understanding
video
of how to
and the
find
timeline's
materials very
playhead stay
simply
in sync.
on the library's webpage,
Click anywhere
which
along
means
the
that getting
timeline, and
into
the playhead moves to
databases
that
and
point.
chaining will be
To
much,
remove
much
a portion
easier
of your
for you,
video,
which is a
make
very
a
good
selection
thing.
with the green in point and red out point.
Some of you had some issues with the difference
Then,
between
click
web
the cut
pages
button.
and databases.
If you don't want media
This
cut
wasn't
on a
normally a
specific
big
track,
deal.
just click the
The
lock
AMA
icon.
manual is technically an
If
e-book,
you make a mistake
not
while
a
editing, press
database.
Ctrl-Z on
Or
the
a web
keyboard
page.
to
I didn't take
undo,
any points off of it.
or
The
choose
key
Edit
distinction really is we
Double-click the
pay for the
playhead to
AMA manual of
deselect.
style. We pay for your access
Next,
to
we'll look
it.
at the clip bin in the
Same thing
library.
with the clinical
The
videos.
clip bin holds
If you noticed
recordings,
the link
audio
for
files,
surgical
images, and
clinical
title
videos,
slides being
we
used
actually
in the
pay for
project
that, so
you're
you guys
currently
can
working
see
on.
that, and the Journal of Visual
The library stores video
Experimentation
clips,
is the same
intros,
way. We pay for
callouts, title
those so you
slides,
can see
and
them
other media assets you
anytime.
want to use
A couple
from
of you
project
mentioned the
to project.
Encyclopedia Britannica. Yeah,
It
it's
is
a general
pre-populated with
reference.
professional content you can use
It's
in your
not going to
videos.
be what we typically
You can
consider a
download more
database,
media from our
proprietary
website by
database,
clicking this
and you
link.
won't use it
You'll
nearly
find
as
a
often
lot
as
more
ones like
music,
PubMed.
callouts, and animated
A small
titles to
handful of
use
you
in your
did point out
projects.
LexisNexis,
And it's all
which
free.
you'll use for some of your
Once you find
business and
something you
law
like
questions
this
that might
callout
come
for
up
example, just
in some
drag
of
it
your
to a
other
track on the
courses.
timeline and resize and
One
reposition it
issue
as
that
needed.
came up a few times for
Double-click
off-campus
the callout on the
access, and
canvas
this
to
is,
open
I
the
include
callouts
this
tab
because so
and
many
edit
of
the
you are
text,
distant students.
or change
If
any
you
of the
are
text
off
properties
campus,
like
we
color
will
or size.
mail you articles that we have in print
You
here
can
in the
find a
library,
number of other
and
callouts
you
to
can use
use in your
interlibrary
projects by
loan
expanding
normally.
the Shapes
That's
menu.
for articles. For books,
You've
you
probably
have to
noticed
go
the
to your
video
local
zooming in and
library
out
and
at
request
times.
books through
For example,
interlibrary
here when
there.
it's zooming
We
into the
cannot
timeline.
mail you
To learn more
an
about adding
interlibrary
and
loan book
customizing
that
zoom
goes
and pan
against
animations to
a
your
lot of our
video,
policies,
check out
and
the
it
other
goes
Getting
against
Started
all of our
tutorials on our
agreements,
website.
so we're not able to do that.
We've talked about some of the tabs already, but be sure
Everyone
to
was
explore the
able to
others for adding and
find the
editing
practical
special
approach
effects.
to cardiac anesthesia.
If they don't all
Most of
show
you
up
were
as
able
tabs,
to
click on the
recognize
More
that
tab
this
to
was a
explore
reference
others,
book.
like the
You would use it
speech-to-text
generally for
capabilities and
background
captions,
information, for
and the
general
improved
techniques
quizzing.
used in cardiac
Also,
anesthesia.
transitions can now be
The
dragged
author
directly to
who
the
was
timeline
citing this
and added
probably
on
used
top
it to
of
describe a
clips.
technique or used it for other
So we've
information,
shown a few
for
ways you can
background
navigate and
information,
edit your
because
video.
again, a
But how do you get
textbook we
content
would use
into
for
your
background
video?
information,
To make a
for
new
set,
screen recording, click the
for
Record the
set
Screen button.
information that doesn't change very
If
rapidly.
you already have an audio or video recording you'd like
The
to use,
next
click the
section
Import Media
was
button.
the library's coverage
When you're
of
done with your video
specific
project,
journals,
you'll need to click
and
the
then 2
Produce
or
and
3
Share button to
traits in the
create a shareable
publication
video.
that
Expand
led
this
you to
menu to see a
believe it was
variety
that
of
type of
presets.
periodical.
We have a
And
new
then what
video
would you
player
use
that
a
plays
resource
back
like
your
this
MP4
for?
video and includes
Most
other
of you
interactive features
did a great job
like
on
table of
this. I want
contents,
to point out
closed
a couple of
captions,
things that
quizzes,
I've
and even
noticed.
hotspots. These
Either
features are available when hosting your
misunderstandings
video on
or
TechSmithScreencast.com
inability to communicate in
or
text
the
was
video in
happening.
player on your own web server.
Some of
This
these,
player provides
even though
playback
they're
on
called
multiple
journals,
devices
and
with just
even
one
if
video.
the
Whether it's a
publisher
phone,
says it's a
tablet,
peer-reviewed
laptop,
journal,
or
that
desktop
doesn't
computer.
necessarily make it so.
Well, it's time
You
for
do
you to
need
try
to review
Camtasia
a couple
Studio
of
for
the
yourself,
articles.
using the content on the timeline.
A
Or
trade
better yet,
publication
create
is
your
going
own.
to be written for
We have
practitioners
lots of free
in the
tutorials
field.
on our website,
Therefore,
and
the
I
articles
recommend you
will be
begin with the
shorter,
Getting
and
Started
so will
series.
the bibliographies.
Also, the help
That
file
is a
inside
key
Camtasia Studio tells you
distinction
how to use each
between
of
a
the
trade
Camtasia Studio
periodical
features and
and a
applications.
scholarly article. A
One
trade
last thing.
periodical is
If
going
you
to
ever want
help
to
you
open this
understand
Getting
what's
Started
happening in
project
your
again to
field.
view
It'll
or
help you
practice
get a
with,
pulse
use
on your
this link
field,
here.
but it's not necessarily
Thanks for
something you're going
watching,
to be
and we hope you
citing
enjoy
very
Camtasia
frequently.
Studio.
Compare that to a scholarly journal, which is what you are primarily going to cite, and this will have original research or review articles. It will typically have a much lengthier bibliography. And so that's what I was really looking for when you talked about your traits to identify whether it was trade or peer reviewed. There wasn't a newspaper in here because I hope everyone can recognize that 500 words or less is a good indication of newspaper. One of you did pick up on AANA. It does have both articles that could be considered trade and articles that can be considered scholarly. Just because a journal is primarily one or the other doesn't mean it can't still have articles of another type. This is really important because most journals will have letters to the editor. A letter to the editor is not evaluated in the same way as a scholarly article. So each article can be evaluated based on the type of publication it comes in, but also the type of article that it is in and of itself. So as you're evaluating articles for appropriateness in research, please look for that. I am currently grading your discussion boards. I should have those done before Sunday. Until then, I think everyone is doing well so far. Hopefully after they get everything rebooted with the server, Blackboard will be working again. Until then, please take it calmly. I've gotten everyone's assignment who's tried to submit them. You should all have your grades. You should all be able to review them. And that's it for me.